Hello everyone, good morning and assalamu alaikum. My name is Abdul Majid Kamaluddin from BSc Nursing third year at Integral College of Nursing, Integral University, Lucknow, here in India, and I am from Nigeria. I am here to talk about some important topic about pediatric. I'm going to talk about introduction of pediatric, who is father of pediatric, and so on. And after that, I'm going to discuss about congestive heart failure in children. So let us start. Introduction of pediatric. The word pediatric is not an English word. It is derived from three Greek words: pedia, itrix, and ix. Pedia means child, itrix means treatment, ix means branch. If you combine it together, they are going to give you child treatment branch. So it doesn't make sense like this, so you have to arrange the words. It means treatment of child, branch of treatment of child. This is pediatric, and let us see the definition or meaning of pediatric. It is a science of child care and scientific treatment of childhood diseases. Pediatric is all about children from conception to birth to adolescence. That is the period in between what is all about pediatric. And after that, we are going to talk about who is the father of pediatric. The father of pediatric is Abraham Jacobi. Abraham Jacobi is the father of pediatric. And pediatric is also known as child health, since pediatric is an Greek words, combination of Greek words. So here there is an English word for pediatric, which is child health. Pediatric nursing, since I have already told you earlier from the beginning, I am from BSc nursing, so I am be talking about pediatric under nursing. If you are not a nursing professional, I am sorry, but you can still learn from it, since everything related to hospital, like you said, we all said that nursing are the backbone of hospital. So if you learn this, you will quite have a lot knowledge about pediatric. But if you want to get it wider, then you can learn it from your various departments related to your department. But here I'm going to talk about the nursing professional. So pediatric nursing, if we say pediatric nursing, then we are talking about child health nursing. Whenever you heard about pediatric nursing, it is all about child health nursing. So it is a branch of medical science that deals with the care of children from conception to adolescence. Pediatric is a branch of medical science. It's related to medical science. Branch. It falls under medical science that deals with the care of children. It deals with only children from conception, right from conception to adolescent age. And it is also a branch of medical science that deals with the care of children, whether they are health or illness. Pediatric is a professional whereby it is not only related to when the child is ill, but is also concerned with health. Even if the child is healthy, so there are some prevention, since most of the diseases are affecting children, so we have to prevent them, we have to promote health, so it is not only about illness. Even a healthy child have to go under this. And yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Pediatric nursing, which is child health nursing, it is concerned with preventive, promotive, curative, and rehabilitative. So it is concerned with four things: preventing, the prevention of illness. That is why we are giving vaccines to the children, OPV, and all those vaccines, so that we can prevent our child, we can prevent our children from those diseases. which will affect their growth and development. And promote it, we have to promote health. Even if the child undergoes these prevention methods, so we have to promote his health. We have to provide proper nutrient diet, proper environment, temperature, adequate temperature, ventilation. We have to promote all that things. And curative, we have to cure if the child is ill, if he is diseased, so we have to cure that. And rehabilitative, even after we have treated the cure, so we have to rehabilitate him and restore his health. So that is all. Now there are some factors affecting child health, not child health. If we say child health, we mean from conception to birth. So from conception to birth to adolescent. So there are some factors that are affecting child health. I'm going to list them down. Then after I have listed them, then I am going to take each and every one and explain. Number one, we have maternal health. Number two, family health. Number three, socio-economic status. Number three, environment. Number four, social support. And number five, healthcare facilities. If we say maternal health, we mean about mother's health. Since child health starts right from conception to birth and from birth to adolescent, so we only know about from birth to adolescent. That is where everyone can contribute. That is where everyone can affect it. But when from conception to birth, it is maternal health, which is the most important. Maternal health is mother health. There are some diseases that are vertical transmission or perinatal transmission. What we mean by this is that a vertical transmission or perinatal transmission is from mother to child, like HIV. There are many diseases that can be transferred to child when he is ovum, when he is embryo, all that. So we have to ensure that his mother have good health. What will happen in case of the mother is HIV positive or all those vertical diseases, vertical transmission diseases? We have to cure them. We have to incubate the embryo. We have to do all these things. So we have to prevent vertical transmission, and we have to ensure maternal health by giving her proper diet. She have to be nutritious. She have to have everything. And after first trimester, so she have to take quite a long what do you call it? She have to have enough rest so that the child can grow healthy. She don't have to do works as many are, what do you call it? Many are forcing their pregnant ladies to do some hard jobs, which is not good. So we have to prevent that for maternal health. And family health. Family health also affects the child health. How does it affect it? When there is hereditary disease in family, so this will automatically affect the child. Or even after that doesn't happen, after delivery, if the family are not healthy, there are some diseases that are easily transmitted, even by airborne. So we have to prevent all that. We have to ensure that the family is healthy, more especially during this COVID-19. We have to prevent all that. Then next one is socio-economic status. Socio-economics play a great role in child health. So what will happen if there is no economics in social economics in the family, since the child needs nutrients, diet, rest, therapies, play therapies, and all this. So if the family are poor family, so this can affect the child health. And environment also affect the child health. If polluted environments affect the health of the child. And social support, since children have to be raised in a society or community. So if there is no social support, then the child is going to be depressed, mentally ill, since we have physical health, social health. So his social health is going to be affected, which is not good for a child to have mental disease. And healthcare facilities, this is for governments. If you go to community areas, which is rural areas, you will find that there is no good healthcare personnel. So in that case, it affects the child health. And after factors affecting child health, I'm going to discuss about stages of life. We have two stages of life. We have prenatal period and postnatal period. Prenatal period is from conception to birth, whereby postnatal period is from birth to adolescent. Prenatal period is divided into three stages. We have ovum, embryo, and fetus. In ovum, from 0 to 14 days after conception, when the ovum, first stage of life is ovum. When there is sexual intercourse between male and female, if it takes place from 0 to 14 days after conception, that is ovum. It is going to remain at ovum. After 14 days, from embryo to 8 weeks. From 14 days to 8 weeks, it is embryo. And the last one is fetus, from 8 weeks till birth. This fetus, there are three. There is preterm baby, term baby, and post-term baby. Preterm baby is whereby the fetus takes from 8 weeks to less than 38 weeks to delivery. That is preterm baby. And term baby is when the fetus is from 8 weeks to 38 to 40 to 39 weeks to birth. That is term baby. And post-term baby is when the fetus takes from 8 weeks to more than 39 weeks or 40 weeks. That is post-term baby. And if we go to postnatal period, there are six. We have neonatal. In neonatal, we have early adults, infants, toddler, preschooler, schooler, and adolescent. In neonate, we have two categories. We have early neonate and late neonate. From when we say early neonate is from birth, that is 0 to 7 days. That is early neonate stage. And if we say late, is from 7 days to 28 days. That is late neonate period. And infant is from 0, right from birth to 1 year. From 0 years to 1 year. That is infant stage. And toddler from 1 to 3 years. Preschooler from 3 to 6 years. schooler from 6 to 12 years, and adolescent from 12 to 18 years. That is all about introduction, factors affecting child health, and stages of life. Then we are going to move to our disease condition, which we take today. I'm going to explain it, which is congestive heart failure. When we say congestive heart failure, there are three words: congestive, heart, and failure. First, we will take the heart, which is an organ of cardiovascular system. Cardiovascular system. If we say cardio, we mean heart. If we say vascular, we mean vessels. And failure, when there is a task that you have to perform and you fail to do that task properly, whether you exceed or you didn't reach the level that is required. So we said there is failure. And if we take congestive is a critical condition. So we move to table of content. We have introduction, definition, and meaning. We have incidents. We have etiology. We have pathophysiology of the disease. We have clinical manifestation. We have investigation. We have diagnosis. We have nursing diagnosis. Since we are talking about in nursing, we are going to have complication, nursing intervention, nursing management, medical management, and also if there is surgical management, we are going to discuss about that. In introduction, in majority of cases, congestive heart failure is the result of surgical correctable structural abnormalities of the heart. It may also occur due to arrhythmia, anemia, myocardial disease such as myocarditis, sepsis, or hypertension. In majority of the cases, in many of the cases of heart diseases, congestive heart failure is the result of surgical correctable. Congestive heart failure, in majority of the cases, is the result of surgical procedures. Mostly, if you heard about someone undergoes surgical procedure related to heart, in most of the cases, it is because of congestive heart failure. And it may also occur due to arrhythmia, irregular heartbeat. Irregular heartbeat, this congestive heart failure may occur due to this arrhythmia, anemia, and myocardial disease, heart disease such as myocarditis, inflammation of the heart. Sepsis, when we say sepsis, we mean infection in the blood. When there is infection in the blood, since heart deals with the blood, so it is going to affect the heart. The infection in the blood is going to affect the heart, so it causes congestive heart failure. Or hypertension, when there is hypertension, high blood pressure, so it means that the heart fails to send adequate systolic or receive diastolic properly. So congestive heart failure is all about failure of the heart to function well. So in hypertension, there is going to be congestive heart failure. After that, we are going to definition and meaning. The meaning of congestive heart failure is congestive heart failure can occur if the heart cannot pump systolic or fill diastolic adequately. When we say congestive heart failure, simply we mean when the heart cannot pump systolic to send the blood to various organs, or fill diastolic to receive the blood from that various organ adequately. When there is alteration in blood pressure, whether it is hypertension or hypotension, we mean congestive heart failure. And definition of congestive heart failure. Congestive heart failure, it is also known as congestive cardiac failure. It can be written as CHF or CCF. It's a chronic disease in which the heart does not pump blood as well as it should be. It is chronic. This is not acute disease. It is chronic, and I have told you from the beginning, in majority of the cases, it is the result of surgical procedures of the heart. So congestive heart failure is a chronic disease in which the heart does not pump blood. It cannot pump blood as well as it should be. And in incidence of congestive heart failure, here we are talking about in pediatric, in children, in child, from birth to adolescent. Congestive heart failure occur in 70.5% during the first year of life and lasted a mean of 15 months. During the 10 years interval, 111 out of 1,500 patients with diseases died, 81 of them for congestive heart failure. What we mean by this is that from 0 to 1 year, that is infant, there are 70.5% cases of congestive heart failure. And the disease only lasts for 15 months. That is 1 year, 3 months. That is the longest time it can take. During the 10 years interval, after each and every 10 years, if you have taken census, 111 out of 100 patients died with heart disease. Out of 1,500 patients that dies, 111 of them, you are going to find out they suffered and died because of heart diseases. So, and 81 of them for congestive heart failure. Out of these 111 patients that dies because of heart disease, 81 of them are because of congestive heart failure, whereby 30 died from various types of heart disease, but 81 of them are because of congestive heart failure. Then etiology, causes of, if we say etiology, we mean causes. We are not saying causes in medicals, we are saying etiology. Etiology are pulmonary overperfusion, pulmonary venous congestion, coronary artery, and high blood pressure. When we say pulmonary overperfusion, when we say pulmonary, we are talking about the in between heart and lungs. That is pulmonary circulation. And when we say overperfusion, perfusion is the flow of blood in vessels, in blood vessels. So when there is overperfusion, means there is high flow of blood in between heart and lungs. So this causes congestive heart failure. And pulmonary venous congestion, when there is congestion in venous in between heart and lungs, this also causes congestive heart failure. Congestive heart failure, CHF are all the same, so I'll be using CHF. Whenever you heard me say CHF, I mean congestive heart failure. Coronary artery disease, when there is coronary artery disease, this also causes CHF. And high blood pressure, as I have told you from introduction, the disease may occur due to arrhythmia, myocarditis, sepsis, and I have told you also hypertension which is also known as high blood pressure. After that, we are going to move to pathophysiology. Pathophysiology simply means how does the disease occurs, how does, if it is foreign body, how does it enter, how does it manifest, and all those. So due to etiological factors, due to these factors, whether pulmonary overperfusion, pulmonary venous overcongestion, coronary artery disease, high blood pressure. So due to this etiological factor, then there will be cardiac output is decreased. Cardiac output, that is systemic circulation, is going to be decreased, since there will be high overperfusion in between heart and lungs. So systemic is going to be decreased. It decreases the perfusion of the various organs. Then after that, it is going to since there is not adequate blood to pump to various organs, then there will be less perfusion, that is blood flow in the vessels to the various organs. What will happen if there is no adequate blood? There will be no adequate oxygen, there will be no adequate nutrients and all that. Then it will lead to congestive heart failure. After pathophysiology, we are going to about clinical manifestation. In clinical manifestation, we mean signs and symptoms of congestive heart failure. Here we are going to list them down and take one by one and explain. Cardiac enlargement, tachycardia, tachypnea, gallop, rhythm, decreased urine output and edema, sweating, failure to sleep and feeding difficulties, decreased exercise tolerance. Clinical manifestation of CHF, we have cardiac enlargement. There will be myocarditis, inflammation, enlargement of the heart. When we go to the diagnosis, we are going to see how are we going to know that the heart is enlarged. There is inflammation of the heart. We are going to discuss about that in diagnosis. And tachycardia, there will be increase in heartbeats. When you are going to take heartbeats, you are going to find that there is increase above normal. And tachypnea, when we say tachypnea, if we say apnea, we means breathing. Tachy means high. Apnea means breathing. Then there will be increase in breathing. Since there is high blood flow between heart and lungs, so there will be increase in breathing. And gallop rhythm, irregular heart rhythm, and there is increase there will be decreased urine output. There will be decreased urine output since there is no, what do we call it, since there is not adequate blood in the kidney, so it cannot function well. So there will be decrease in urine output, which will result in edema, which is swelling of the body. When kidney, the best way to diagnose kidney disease is by edema, swelling of the body. And there will be sweating. Your child will be sweating. You will put him under air condition, but there will be sweating since it is not the external environment that is affecting him. It is from inside. There will be sweating, failure to thrive and feeding difficulties. The child will not thrive to feeding. There will be difficulty in feeding. Even you as an adult or as a man, if you are having tachypnea, you cannot take food well, you will be breathing. How can you take food in that condition? And there will be decreased exercise tolerance. since there is many diseases that are affecting him, your child will not tolerate exercise. And after that, we are moving to diagnosis. How can you diagnose? How can you know that this child is suffering from tachycardia? Tachycardia. If we say tachycardia, we are all CHF. First, we have to take history and physical examination. History of the patient, we have to take mother health, family health, name. Since it is child, we have to take vaccine schedule. Did he undergo any vaccines? We have to take complete history of the patient and his family, their health and everything. And physical examination, we have to perform examination from head to toe. Since there are maybe since it is heart, it is related to every organ in the body, we have to take complete physical examination. And we have to take ECG. ECG means electrocardiogram. We have to take, there is ECG machine, we have to take ECG of the patient. And arterial blood gas analysis, ABG. We also have to take samples from arteries and send it to medical laboratories to take tests. And serum electrolyte, we have to take serum electrolyte test. And echocardiography, it is the use of sound wave to produce live images of your heart. I have told you how can we find cardiac enlargements here. By using echocardiography, we can see if there is any enlargement. We are going to take live action of the heart. And here in management, we are going to first start with the medical management. The medical management of CHF, which is congestive heart failure, is based on the underlying causes. You have to treat. There may be tachycardia, but there is no tachypnea, so we have to treat only tachycardia. There will be tachypnea, but there is no tachycardia, so we have to treat only tachypnea. We have to manage the condition based on the underlying causes, based on the diagnosis and what did we find during the diagnosis. Then we have to treat that. After that, we have to do improvement of myocardial function through the use of dialysis and diuretics. We have to improve myocardial function so that the heart can pump blood adequately to various organs through digitalis. There are some herbs or plants that we regard as digitalis, and diuretics, and supply and conservation of energy through nutritional support and rest. We have to help the patient to restore his energy, which is rehabilitation. As we discussed earlier, pediatric nursing is concerned with rehabilitation, so we have to rehabilitate. We have to restore the energy and conserve it so that the child can be okay again through nutritional support, proper diet and rest. After that, we are going to nursing diagnosis. In nursing diagnosis, if we say nursing diagnosis, are those observation and findings without any, like, what we call it, laboratory procedure, or radiographers. These are nursing diagnosis, what we nurses, what we observe, what we find. So first of all, impairment, physical mobility and fatigue related to activity intolerance and inability of heart to pump an adequate blood supply. Impairments, impaired physical mobility. There will be impaired physical mobility. You will see the child is so weak. And fatigue, there will be fatigue, there will be weakness related to activity intolerance. There is going to be activity intolerance and inability of heart because of the activity intolerance and inability of the heart to pump blood. So there will be weakness, there will be fatigue. This can all be observed. And the next one is increased risk of respiratory infection due to pulmonary vasculature overloading. There is increased risk of respiratory infection. There will be high risk in respiratory infections since there is tachypnea, so there will be high increase in respiratory diseases. And next one, altered nutrition, less than body requirement related to anorexia and increased workload of incomplete heart. There will be an alteration in nutrition, less than body requirement due to anorexia, which is loss of appetite, and increased workload of incomplete heart. There will be high risk factors for growth and development due to inadequate tissue perfusion and lack of energy to accomplish development tasks. There will be high risk factors for growth and development since there is no adequate nutritional intake. There will be delay in growth and development due to inadequate tissue perfusion. So this tissue cannot receive blood from heart, so there will be less nutrition in that blood. There will be less oxygen and all those nutrients that tissue needs and develop and grows. So there will be less in that, so there will be alteration, there will be risk factors for growth and development. A lack of energy to accomplish development tasks. The patient loses energy, so there will be lack of development tasks. Fear and anxiety in the family and child due to knowledge deficit about diseases. There will be fear and anxiety. The family of the child will be fear and anxiety. Our newborn baby, he is just 6 months, he is just 9 months, and he is having heart disease. Even we adults, we get more anxious when we have heart disease, since we know it is the center of everything. When there is problem in heart, there will be everywhere. So there will be more fear in the family and anxiety, and the patient is going to be anxious since it is child. You have to take him away from his parents. You have to put him to the ICU, intensive care unit, PICU, and all those. So there will be fear and anxiety since they have knowledge deficit related to disease condition. Some family, they have this belief that if the patient goes to PICU, NICU, ICU, SICU, so the patient is going to die. We are no more going to see our child back. After nursing diagnosis, there is no nursing intervention. How can we manage this nursing diagnosis? Number one, identify the child's normal pattern of sleep and feeding. You have to ask the parents, how does he normally used to sleep, his feeding pattern, his sleeping pattern. Then you have to make schedules. Then you have to maintain that so that his health can be restored. Next one, infants should be allowed to cry for extended period. The infant, since you don't have to put the patient semi-conscious, or you have to put him under anesthesia. This is child. You have to let him cry for some extended period. This cry will help him. The cry that babies make, it is helping them for their health. And provide proper rest to the child so that his energy can be conserved. You have to provide proper rest to the child. That is why we have to put him under NICU or PICU, so that his energy can be conserved. If we put him to general wards, then there will be more visitors, there will be more visitors from family. They will not let the patient rest. And the next one, nobody with respiratory infections should maintain contact with the child. Since there is high risk of respiratory infection, so everyone, even his mother with respiratory infection, should not maintain physical contact with the child. No one with respiratory infection should be allowed to maintain contact with the patient. Next one, prophylactic antibiotics must be administered if prescribed. If there is prophylactic that the doctor prescribed, then you have to give it to the child. The last one, developmental needs will partially met by loving interaction between family and child. As we say from the beginning, you have to put the patient in PICU, pediatric intensive care unit. So even by that, you have to let maybe his mother, his father, you have to ask the family of the patient which among his family members is familiar with. So you have to let him to interact so that he will feel loving and interaction. This will improve in rehabilitating his health. And lastly, we have complication. If you did not treat or manage CHF, congestive heart failure, what will happen? What will it lead to? So, number one, we have poor growth and development. The child is going to have poor growth and development. Growth and development are essential in life. Growth is qualitative and development is quantitative. Qualitative and quantitative, growth and development, they are qualitative and quantitative. So you have to maintain that. You have to know that if you did not treat CHF, it is going to lead to poor growth and development. Your child will not, something that he is supposed to know by 5 years, you will see that all his maths, this one can mention from letter A to Z, but he will be mentioning A, Z, B, poor growth and development. He will have deficiencies. Next one, high blood pressure in the vessels between the heart and lungs, which is pulmonary hypertension. There will be overperfusion, pulmonary overperfusion. High blood flow in the vessels between heart and lungs, so there will be pulmonary hypertension. So congestive heart failure leads to pulmonary hypertension. There will be hypertension and pulmonary hypertension. Then irregular heartbeat. It will lead to irregular heartbeat. Organ damage in the kidney and liver. There will be organ damage in both kidney and liver. And there will be anemia, there will be blood clots. So this is all about congestive heart failure. Hope my explanations are to your needs. If you have any question, feel free to ask. Feel free to contact me for anything related to pediatric introduction and the topic that I have discussed now. Thank you and assalamu alaikum. Good morning once again. My name is Abdul Majid Kamaluddin from BSc Nursing Tadia, Integral College of Nursing, Integral University, Lucknow, here in India, and I am from Nigeria. I have recently talked about introduction, stages of life, factors affecting child health, which is pediatric, and I have discussed about congestive heart failure, which is also known as congestive cardiac failure, or CCF or CHF. And now I am going to summarize and give conclusion to the topic, and after that I am going to put a slide regarding this lecture in this video after my conclusion and summary. In summary, we have discussed about introduction of pediatric. I have told you pediatric is not an English word. It's an Greek words, combination of three Greek words, pedia, itric, and its. Pedia means child, itric means treatment, it means branch. If we conclude them, it is a science of child care and science and scientific treatment of childhood disease. And after that, I have talked about the father of pediatrics, Abraham Jacobi. And pediatric is also known as child health. Pediatric nursing is same as child health nursing. It is a branch of science that deals with care of children from conception to birth and whether they are health or illness. And it concerns with 4 preventive, promotive, curative, and rehabilitative. And factors affecting child health: maternal health, which is mother's health, family health, socio-economic status, environment, social economics, healthcare facilities. In stages of life, we have prenatal period and postnatal period. Prenatal period, we have ovum from 0 to 14 days. After conception, embryo from 14 days to 8 weeks, and fetus from 8 weeks till birth. And there will be a term baby, preterm baby, or first term baby. And postnatal period is as follows: neonates, we have early 0 to 7 days, we have late 7 to 28 days. And infants, 0 to 1 year, toddler 1 to 3 years, preschooler 3 to 16 years, schooler 6 to 12 years, and adolescent from 12 to 18 years. And now congestive heart failure, conclusion of summary and conclusion of congestive heart failure. I have told you, in majority of cases, congestive heart failure is the result of is the major result for heart surgery, and it may occur due to irregular heartbeat, anemia, myocarditis, hypertension, which is high blood pressure, and sepsis, which is infection in the blood. And definition: congestive heart failure, CHF, is a chronic disease in which the heart does not pump or cannot pump blood as it should be. Heart failure can occur if the heart cannot pump systolic to various organs, or feel diastolic or receive blood from those various organs adequately. And in incidence, 70.5%, it occurs in first year to last at least of 15 months. And after 8 years, out of 1,500 patients that dies, 111 of them died because of heart disease. And out of this, 111, each one of them died because of congestive heart failure. It is a serious chronic heart disease. And in etiology, we have overperfusion of, of pulmonary circulation, coronary artery disease, pulmonary venous congestion, and high blood pressure, which is hypertension. And in pathophysiology, due to this etiology that I have mentioned, it will result to cardiac output is decreased. A decrease in cardiac output, and then this will decrease the perfusion of the blood to the various organs, and it will lead to congestive heart failure. Then clinical manifestations, signs and symptoms, there will be inflammation of the heart, increase of heartbeats, increase in breathing, gallop breathing, decrease urine output, edema, sweating, decrease exercise tolerance, and so on. In diagnosis, we have complete history and complete physical examination. We have ECG, electrocardiogram, we have ABG, arterial blood gas analysis, serum electrolytes, and we have echocardiography, use of soundwave to produce live images of your heart. And in management, we have to treat CSF based on underlying causes. And after that, we have to improve myocardial function using digitalis and diuretics, and we have to supply and conserve energy through nutritional support and rest. Then we have nursing diagnosis, which are much, and I only have to list them: impairment, physical mobility, and fatigue related to activity intolerance, and inability of heart to pump an adequate blood supply, decreased risk of respiratory infection due to pulmonary vasculature overloading, altered nutrition less than body requirement related to anorexia, and decreased work of incomplete heart, high risk factors for growth and development due to inadequate tissue perfusion, a lack of energy to accomplish development tasks, fear and anxiety in the family and child due to knowledge deficit about disease condition, nursing intervention, nursing management, identify the child's normal pattern of sleeping and feeding. Infants should be allowed to cry for extended time, provide proper rest to the child so that his energy can be conserved. Nobody with respiratory infection should maintain contact with the child. Prophylactic antibiotics must be administered if prescribed. Developmental needs will partially met by interaction between family and the child. And we have complication, poor growth and development. We have pulmonary hypertension, high blood pressure and pulmonary, which is in the vessels between heart and lungs, irregular heartbeats, which is arrhythmia, organ damage in the kidney and liver, anemia, and blood clots. Thank you. Now I am going to share with you the slide that I have made myself. Thank you.